My name is Alex. I am the co-founder of a startup called SoundCloud, and I'm not really going to pitch in a traditional way today, but rather tell you a little bit of a story. And it starts about a year ago. My friend and co-founder Eric and I just got back to Stockholm from a few days in Berlin. And we were thinking about what to do with this startup we'd been thinking about ever since we lived in San Francisco for a while. And 10 minutes later, we booked 2 flights to Berlin for the next week. And we moved to Berlin, set up the company. 3 weeks later, we had the first version out of the site with some invited beta users. And from there on, we've been growing the team, getting more people on board, and it's a really fun project to be working on. And the theme of the conference is real time, and I was thinking a little bit about time before today, and specifically music and time, because SoundCloud is a music site for professionals. And what I specifically wanted to think about is the time that takes, or the time that occurs before you actually press play on your iPod. And that is quite a lot of time. Before a piece of music is actually ready to be consumed, there's a lot of people involved in creating it, in promoting it, in making sure it becomes this cultural product that you then consume. It's not just the artist that you usually think of. And the point being just that there is a large ecosystem behind every single track and every time you press play on the iPod. And there's also something interesting about this kind of ecosystem, because this is just a little small part of it. And there's so many people with different kind of jobs, different things that they're doing. But they basically all have one thing in common, and that's that they send a lot of music files every single day. They send files back and forth to other, journalists, people that are interested in it, and talk about it. And this is kind of nice when you find a large group of people that are different, but that have one single thing in common. So, SoundCloud. What is it? It's cloud services for moving music is what we're calling it right now. And it's basically an online platform for audio that does a bunch of different things, but the foundation of it is a very advanced audio platform that can take any kind of format, any transcoding things, anything like that. And we've built also a website on top of it that we let these professional music creators and professionals from the music industry use to do their regular day-to-day work. And the name was actually, we thought of it long before kind of this cloud service thing was the zeitgeist. But what could cloud services mean in a music context? It turns out it's quite simple stuff that people need to do. Like I was talking about, send and receive tracks. That's what people do all the time. They need to be able to do it privately. Privately is kind of the key here, in much better ways than today. They need to be able to promote to exclusive groups, handle master storage, also distribute across the web once you have a track public. I'll get a little bit more to this soon. The important thing about this is to have it as a cloud service idea, that we kind of abstract a lot of the technical parts from all the music people. They can focus on what they're doing, and they just use the service to get the files across and talk about it. And all this can then be done with one single tool. And this is kind of a very messy slide, lots of stuff all over the place, which is very much what the music industry looks like. It's very messy. But this is kind of a flow of a song starting to be created here and then going across and out into the world. The thing is that, say that I start working on a song by myself, I send it to another producer the next day, just want to hear some feedback, it's a super rough sketch, just want to check what he or she thinks. And then, I work a bit more on it, send it to a few more people, all private, I don't want it to get out into the world yet. And I keep iterating over this track until maybe my label has it one day. Then they start sending it out to larger groups of people, and then suddenly there's a certain time when there's a release. Then it's public. You want to try and get it out to as many places as possible. And then we have tools for getting it distributed across all social networks, blogs, etc., with automated or automatically updated widgets, automatic distribution through the APIs, lots of additional kind of players and kind of things that people can build onto the API, so you can really spread it out once it's public. And these are two techno guys from Stockholm. They call themselves Le Choix. The picture's taken in the autumn last year at the CIMI conference in Stockholm, where I met Mark, who's arranging. Next to it, he invited me to come here. What was interesting about this is that they have a little studio here, and it's actually on the stage of the conference. Conference was for 2 days, and they were, during these 2 days, constantly on stage while people were giving talks, making music, and also connected via SoundCloud to a lot of other people they know around the world, getting feedback on their tracks, iterating over it, and finalizing it. So by the end of the conference, they'd made a theme song and had 3 remixes done by really big name producers in 2 days, and they were doing everything via SoundCloud. So there's a lot of different features in the website that kind of make sense for people working with music. This is one example. Each track is represented by a waveform. You have the possibility to actually go in and put comments inside of the waveform at specific points. So if you're working with music, it makes a lot of sense to be able to say that I love this piano that's at this point, and I'm not talking about this piano, which is really hard to describe in an email. Also then, for the kind of everyday flow, I check my SoundCloud account every morning, and then I have a lot of comments, new music coming in. I don't have to worry about you send it links or people emailing me tracks. I get it in one nice dashboard. I can just press play in the morning, listen to all the new tracks from all the artists and DJs that I know, and get a chance to have a lot of new unreleased stuff in there. So 2 questions that I'll go through really fast. How do we make money off this? It's actually quite simple. It's a very, it's a utility tool, nothing strange about it. And Guy Kawasaki once said, don't innovate on the business model. So we're just doing pro accounts for different segments, different types of features, different costs. Second question is, what's the point of doing this? Is it just to create an industry tool? Not really. The idea is that we're building it specifically for the pros, the people that make the music that we all love so much. So we attract them on board to be able to build this large-scale audio platform that has the most attractive content available out there. We've done a test run now within only the electronic music segment. It's been invite only, and we haven't promoted it anything, and we already have most of the world's largest electronic music producers using it. Without us even talking to them. So that's quite nice. And for today, a little bit of final news is that we're just about to do a quite big launch in 3 weeks, on the 2nd of June. And the sneak peek is kind of officially starting today. So anybody, we've been very restrictive with the invites and stuff, but if anybody wants to check this out now, we're doing a little 2-3 pre-release run for bloggers, journalists, etc. to come and check it out a bit. And then on the 2nd of June, we're going to have some fun. That was it. Thanks.
Is SoundCloud the platform, the service? Is it just a collaboration tool, or is it also a distribution platform?
It is actually both, because it turns out, I think the interesting thing is that we're starting with the collaboration part, because that's where people are really lacking tools today, the private sharing. But the distribution part is not really that different from it. It's like this thing, the funnel. It scales up, and at a certain point, you want to be able to, just like I'm sending it to you, I want to be able to send it to a lot of people. So we see it a bit like collaboration and distribution aren't necessarily that different from the perspective of moving files. So we see it as one tool that the professional music person can use from day one until the last day. The extremely ridiculous services that they're using today, paying a lot for it. So we're going to have a basic freemium model. There'll be free accounts for people who want to do the basic stuff. There's going to be one step up, a basic pro account, which is really cheap, like 30 euros a year or something. That gives a few extra features. And then there's also an additional pro account, which is more aimed for labels, organizations, companies, and stuff like that, that costs like 30 euros per month or something. And we might expand it into one more pricing segment, but we're starting with those two.
Fragen?
Because we were really tired of getting sent music in all these ridiculous ways. Like people sending these links or everybody has their own FTP login that you have to remember, and it's just, like I was at the point where I felt like I don't want people to send me music, which is ridiculous. I mean, I love music. I would love, my friends to send me music, but the tools are so ridiculous. So that's kind of where it got started. And also, the timed comment thing in the tracks was just from trying to write emails to people and describe what we thought about the music, which is, try it sometime. It's really interesting.
You seem to be very fast. Could you tell us a little bit about how you set up the platform, how you find developers in Berlin, which is almost
Right.
impossible?
Yeah. Well, we've been doing, yeah, it's extremely difficult. We've been searching everywhere. We had some help from friends in Sweden who came over with us. Some of them went back, they had to do university things, stuff like that. We were lucky enough, one of our friends who's a really good developer already lived in Berlin and was working for Places at the time. And then, yeah, we also got an addition of one of the best developers I've ever met in my whole life, who is from the US, but also happened to be in Berlin at that time and wanted to switch jobs and liked us. So, I don't know, they seem to pop out somehow, but it's a lot of meeting people that aren't really up for it.
Was it all for free, or did you have a little bit money left? Or?
Well, we've added all of our own money. That was like gone quite fast. And then we started getting into just a little bit of debt, which wasn't so much. And then we took in some initial angel investments that we're running on now. But yeah, we're hoping to get the pro accounts out this summer and then actually, getting some revenue finally.
Thank you.